Hare Krishna, everyone, and welcome back to our study of the Bhagavad Gita as it is. So today, we're jumping into a chapter that gets right to the heart of a huge question for all of us. How do we actually live and act in this world without getting all tangled up in it? Well, Lord Krishna gives us the answer right here in Chapter 3, Karma-Yoga, the path of purposeful action. Let's dive in and see what he has to say. So the chapter kicks right off with Arjuna, and he is just deeply, deeply confused. See, he just heard Lord Krishna talk all about buddhi yoga, the yoga of intelligence. So his question makes perfect sense, doesn't it? He's basically saying, wait a minute, if knowledge is so much better than action, why are you pushing me to fight this horrible war? It's this one honest question that really opens the door for everything Krishna is about to reveal. And right here, we see the root of Arjuna's confusion. Like a lot of people, he thought that being spiritual meant you had to drop everything, run off to a secluded place, and just kind of stop. But, as Srila Prabhupada explains so brilliantly in his purport, there's a little more going on here. Arjuna was looking for a good reason, a spiritual-sounding reason, to get out of doing his duty. Prabhupada calls it a skillful excuse to avoid that difficult fight. So Lord Krishna starts his reply by making this really crucial distinction. He tells Arjuna, look, I've already explained that there are two kinds of people. And so there are two paths. For those who are more analytical, more philosophical, there's jnana yoga, the path of knowledge. But for those who are active, who are devotional, there's karma yoga, the path of action. So right off the bat, Krishna is making it crystal clear. A spiritual life doesn't have to mean an inactive life. Not at all. And Krishna immediately, and I mean immediately, dismantles this whole idea of trying to escape by just doing nothing. He's so direct about it. He says you can't get free just by stopping your work, and you're not going to reach perfection just by putting on the saffron robes of a sannyasi. The real transformation has to happen on the inside, through purification, and that's not something you achieve by simply stopping all your external activities. Then, Lord Krishna gives this really serious warning about faking it, about artificial renunciation. He uses this powerful term, mithya acharya, which basically means a pretender, a hypocrite. Just picture it. Someone sitting there looking like a great yogi, totally still, but on the inside, their mind is just racing, thinking about all kinds of sense objects. Krishna says that person is just fooling himself and everyone else. It's a total delusion. But then, on the flip side, in total contrast to that pretender, Lord Krishna shows us who is truly superior. And it's not the person who ran away from the world. No, it's the sincere person who's right in the middle of it, the one who uses their mind to control their senses and just does their duty, but without attachment, offering up the results to Krishna. That, the Lord says, is the person who is far, far more advanced. And this brings us right to the secret sauce of Karma Yoga. This is the solution. The answer isn't to stop work. It's to completely change the reason you're working. And we do that by performing our work as yajna, or sacrifice. See, any work we do for our own pleasure, for our own sense gratification, it just binds us deeper and deeper. But that very same work, when we do it just for the satisfaction of Krishna, becomes totally liberating. It's the secret art of action. And what's amazing is that this principle of sacrifice isn't just some personal philosophical idea. It's a cosmic law. Krishna lays out this beautiful, perfect cycle. It all starts with us doing our prescribed duties as a sacrifice. That pleases the demigods, the universal administrators. They, in turn, provide the rains. The rains produce food grains, and of course, the food sustains all of us. It's this incredible system of divine cooperation, and yajna is the engine that makes the whole thing run. And Krishna does not hold back here. He says that anyone who just enjoys all these gifts from nature, the sun, the air, the food, but doesn't offer anything back in sacrifice, he says that person is stena eva sa. They are certainly a thief. Wow, that's some strong language. And it really shows us how serious our responsibility is to acknowledge the supreme source of everything we have. Okay, so this brings up another really good question, right? What about someone who's already self-realized? Do they still have to work? And Krishna's answer is a definite yes, but not for themselves. They do it for loka sangraham, which means for the sake of educating the public, for uplifting everyone. A great leader has to act perfectly, because whatever standard they set, you can be sure the rest of the world is going to follow right along. And to really hammer this point home, Krishna uses the ultimate example, himself. I mean, think about it. As the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he has absolutely nothing to gain. He doesn't have to do anything. And yet, he says,
I still engage in my duties very, very carefully. And why is that? Because if he, the Lord himself, decided to be inactive, we'd all just follow his lead, and the whole world would be ruined. His action is purely to set that perfect example for all of us.
Now, Arjuna asks a question that gets right to the core of our own personal struggle, doesn't it? He's understood the what, he gets that he has to act, but now he's asking why. Why do we mess up? Why do we sometimes do things we know are wrong, even when we don't want to? It feels like we're being forced. And this is a question that I think every single one of us has asked ourselves at some point. And Lord Krishna's answer is just so definitive, so powerful. He points his finger and identifies the enemy, and it's not something out there. The enemy is inside. He says it is kama, lust. This desire, born from the mode of passion, is the all-devouring, sinful enemy of this world. And when that insatiable desire doesn't get what it wants, what happens? It instantly flips and turns into its ugly cousin, krodha, or wrath. That's the force that pushes us around. So if this is our enemy, where is it hiding? Well, the Lord basically gives us the enemy's battle plans. He reveals its strategic positions, and they aren't in some far-off land. This enemy has set up strongholds right inside of us. Krishna says its sitting places are the senses, the mind, and even the intelligence. And from these positions, it covers our true knowledge and just keeps us completely bewildered.
But here's the good news. Knowing where the enemy is half of the battle. To win, Krishna gives us the hierarchy of control, the chain of command within ourselves. It's brilliant. The senses are higher than just dead matter. Higher than the senses, you have the mind. Higher than the mind, you have the intelligence. But, and this is the key, supreme over all of them is the soul. That's you. Understanding this structure is how we get the leverage we need to win.
And that brings us to the final powerhouse instruction of this chapter. Knowing that you, the soul, are transcendental to all these lower things, you have the power to steady the mind. And what's the tool you use? Your spiritual intelligence, your Krishna consciousness. By using this higher power, by plugging into the spiritual strength, we can finally conquer that insatiable enemy we know as lust. So as we wrap up our look at Chapter 3, the real work for us begins now. The main takeaway isn't just to understand Karma Yoga with our heads, but to really live it. So let's all take this question personally. How can I, in my specific life, at my job, in my home, with my family, how can I start to transform my work from just action into a sacred offering? How can I make my life a beautiful, liberating sacrifice for the pleasure of the Lord? Thank you all so much for studying with me today. Hare Krishna.